considered, the favorite or a team that's guaranteed to go to the finals. No, they have work to do. But boy, when I tell you that the entire league looking around seeing James Harden all of a sudden wake up and get 14 assists in his debut, to see Kevin Durant go for 42. And this is what I like. Kevin Durant is a scorer. Kyrie Irving, even though he is a point guard, is also a scorer. But what you know with James Harden is that he has led the league in assists. So he knows how to get himself involved. He knows how to get his teammates involved. So when everyone's talking about, okay, well, who's going to handle the ball? Who's going to do this? I think James Harden really running that point and allowing Kyrie and KD to be just dominant scorers and him being the person that kind of navigates his game, I think that could be a real problem.
Well, I mean, no question about it. And, Richard, I think that was one of the things that stood out. 4 steals as well. Did have 9 turnovers. And I like that was one of the first things he brought up to Michael Grady in his post-game interview, saying, I got to clean up the turnovers. But, Richard, I think what was so striking, and we've already talked about it some, was, people have seen James Harden play a certain way in Houston over the last couple of years. And so there have been conversations about, dribbling the air out of the basketball, how they're going to continue to get everyone involved. But these players wanted this, which obviously shows their inclination to want to do whatever they have to win. And James Harden has shown that ability to play make, and it's not just that he has the skills to do it, Richard. There's the buy-in now to not play the way he was in Houston and to access more of those playmaking abilities, and we saw that already in Game 1.
Ryan, I 100% agree with you. What you have to do is you have to look around the league sometimes. And James Harden has led the league in assists. And then as his team and the dynamic of his team started to change, he then started to be like, okay, well, I'm going to go and average 34 points a game. Look at a guy like LeBron James. You add Anthony Davis on his team, and what does he do? He goes and leads the league in assists at 10 a game. I really think that James Harden, even though we're in the very beginning of the season, could lead the league in assists if he chooses to play that way. And so when you ask James, what is your goal? Sometimes it's to be the leading scorer. Sometimes it's to be the MVP. These guys that are on this tier, when you talk about Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving and James Harden and LeBron James, they can adjust their game. It's all a matter about what they want to do on the basketball floor. So if you tell James, we need you to average 25 and 10, or we need to average 26 and 11, he can go and do that, and pretty much with ease, especially with the arsenal around him. So I think this was a quick message to everyone on this team, everyone in this league, that look, they're going to be able to move the ball. They're going to be able to score. The next step that we're going to be talking about is how do they play that high-level team defense that's going to be needed when you're talking about the postseason.
Richard, during the game, I thought Sarah had a very poignant and simultaneously funny remark when she said, it feels like Kevin Durant is a veteran here now with all the attention on James Harden, the newcomer, and it sort of does, but you watch the performance tonight and you realize...
all the time.
Well, Durant, 42 points, a season high, most in a game since Game 3 of the Western Conference semifinals back on May 4th, 2019. 16 of 20 as well. He had 6 of them tonight. But we saw that last highlight there, Richard, where he fed Bruce Brown, who's apparently has the clutch gene based on what we've seen from Bruce Brown in the fourth quarter over these last couple of weeks. But how about that, Richard? How about the way the rest of this team is able to play off of Durant and James Harden?
Yeah, and I'm going to include a guy like Landry Shamet, and I think there's going to be a lot of attention on Jeff Green, and rightfully so. You already saw some of those smaller lineups that they were playing with where Jeff Green is at, I would say, kind of the 4-5. Kevin Durant is 7 foot. He's at the 4-5. And when you're talking about size, you're talking about James Harden at 6'6". That could be your point guard, your 2-guard, your 3-man, whatever position that you need. So that's going to be key for them. If they're able to shore up their defense, and like I said, they don't have to be a top 5 defense, not with this type of offense. Yes, it would be great to be a top 5 defense, but if they can hover somewhere between the 10 and 15 range and limit their turnovers, again, be top 10 in the league in turnovers and not 18th, not 22nd. If they could be right there at like 10 or 11, be a 10 to 15 type defense with the offensive firepower that you have on this roster, they're going to be a force. But that's going to be the number one thing. Their chemistry when things get tight and their ability to play defense and not turn over the ball. If they can do those two things, not turn over the ball and play like solid defense, I tell you what, it is going to be problems.
Richard's going to hop out of retirement and put on a jersey just so he can get another ring. Is that what I'm sensing, Richard?
Not a chance. Not a chance.
All right. Time for our first break here on the... That Lake Chelan, Washington dirt to heal the ankle. You see the shot chart for Joe Harris, 6 of 11 from the floor, 17 points for Jolton Joe. Take a look at the game summary from tonight's action. The Nets putting up 38 points in the fourth quarter to break away. Nikola Vucevic, always an issue for Brooklyn, had a monster game. Harden, the 32, 12, and 14, 4 steals as well. How about Durant? A season-high 42 points, and Brooklyn has its first 3-game winning streak of the season. Time to hear from Nets head coach Steve Nash with the media, including our Michael Grady.
Coach, just can you give us an idea of what you liked just from James Harden's performance out there and what it was like incorporating him into everything that you guys did today?
Well, he stuffed the stat sheet. Wow, almost a quadruple double. But I mean, obviously James is a brilliant basketball player, and we got to incorporate him, find a way to make this thing gel, and put him in a position to do what he does, and for him to make each of our guys better. But he, got to the line 15 times. He made threes, 12 rebounds, 14 assists, 4 steals. We know what he is. He's a world-class basketball player. So we'll continue to build and get better and try to figure this out where everyone is, a threat, and we make each other better.
Michael Grady with Yes Network.
And Coach, in what ways did James exceed your expectations in a debut?
Well, I just think, he's had obviously a very strange start to the season, stop-start year. He's not in his best condition yet. So for him to do as many things as he did on the basketball floor tonight was incredible. And, it's great to get one under his belt and for him to kind of, feel his teammates in the building, and we'll just keep building. But he was, incredible for a guy who, like I said, is just trying to get himself in shape.
And the guys, around him and guys making plays, Bruce Brown, the big three late, there's going to be a lot of talk about, Kyrie, Kevin, and James, but, how important are those other guys on the roster?
Well, it can't just be, your top guy, your top 2, your top 3 guys. You got to play team basketball. Everyone's got to be a threat. Everyone's got to play their role, know their role. And so those are things we have to figure out. But, I thought I was exceptional tonight, Joe played well, Bruce played well, Jeff gave us some important veteran experience, and you go down the line and guys contributed. So it was I think a game that could have gone the other way. We were it took us a while to find it and to pull away, but it wasn't clean at all. It wasn't easy, but that's a tribute to their team, and but we got a lot to build on.
Brian Lewis with the New York Post.
Hey, Steve, it's obvious it's only one game, short sample size, but I mean, when James says, well, I'm going to facilitate, and I'm going to pass, and I'm going to make my teammate better and do all those things, it's different from saying it's actually going out and doing it. How encouraging was it for you to see the way he threaded passes, the way he rebounded, the way he did all of those things that he was saying he was going to?
Yeah, I mean, I can't say I'm surprised. We've had a pretty big sample size of him doing that the last 6 to however many years he's been in the league. But it's not easy. Like we said, he's not in his best condition yet. He's joined a new group, with basically no practice time, and figured it out on the fly. So, I think, he had a bunch of turnovers tonight that are just because he's new to the team and group, and you're thrown out there in an NBA game where the other team's an excellent coach basketball team, and they're going to scheme and they're going to make it difficult. And so those types of things are normal. But all the things he did accomplish on the floor were incredible for his first evening.
Malika Andrews with ESPN.
Hey, Steve, I have two for you. First, when you were watching from the sidelines, could you see, oh, yes, I see how Kyrie's going to fit in here. Boom, it's going to be easy. Or were you looking at it saying, okay, maybe there's some things that we're going to have to grow and adjust to fit him in here too?
I think we're going to have to continually find how it all works to its best level, to the most effective and efficient standard. But, like throwing Kyrie in the mix makes us better. It's a good problem to have, trying to figure out, where they can coexist to their highest level and standard. So I think it takes time. I think it's going to be an adjustment for everyone, but it's an incredible problem to have and something that I think we'll relish trying to decipher.
And secondly, there was a moment where, Kevin kicks out to Bruce Brown. You have James Harden, all smiles. Where did this rank in terms of fun that you've had coaching a game this year? Because it sure looked like the players were enjoying themselves.
Yeah, I think everyone was excited. It's obviously you bring a player of James' caliber and his excitement to be here, and everyone was excited. And it's been a fun few days. As far as the performance, gosh, my head is spinning. Who did we play 3 nights ago? No, three games ago at home. A very good team. Denver. We played Denver. That was a fun evening. We played in New York and had an excellent short staff game where guys moved the ball, played together, and then tonight again, found a way to win. It's been a fun few games for us, and we needed them. We need to build. We need some positive energy because, we've had some difficult times this year as well. But tonight was really fun, and happy to see the guys enjoying what they do.
Ian Begley with SNY.
It's Steve, just I guess over the last couple of days and then moving forward, how much do you lean on or will you lean on Mike D'Antoni in terms of getting to know James's game and how best to implement him?
Well, I think it's, an invaluable resource. I think it'd be silly not to really, lean on Mike for all of his experience with James and their familiarity and how and what James likes and how he works best. So, those are conversations that I'll have with James, but we'll all have as a group and a staff. And Mike, obviously, with his insight and his relationship with James is invaluable.
And last question will go to Mark Mendina with USA Today.
Yes, Steve, good to see you. I want to point, you said pregame about how adaptable and versatile Kevin is. When you worked with him in Golden State, what were your takeaways with how he was able to apply that in that group and fit in with those personalities, and how do you see that applying here?
Yeah, I think Kevin's the most adaptable because of his versatility. He can pretty much play anywhere on the floor. He can play without the ball. He can play with the ball. He can play in the post, elbow, nail, out handling. So, I think for Kevin, it's the easiest transition in that he's quite happy to move around and play different roles. So, and he also has that Golden State experience. So, having to play with other great players and that ability to share for the betterment of the group. So we'll lean on Kevin for that. He's been through it, and he, handled it with incredible success.
Thanks so much, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thanks, everybody.
Amongst the things that Steve Nash touched on there, Richard, he talked early about how, James has kind of had this strange season. It's probably in part led to him not being in his best game condition, and yet can still go out there and do all the things that he was able to do tonight.
Yeah, now he can. Now, is that something that's sustainable? Like, everyone in basketball knows that in order to really make a run at a championship, I don't care how talented you are, you need to be 100% locked in. Your body has to be in peak physical condition. So, yes, they were able to come out here against Orlando, and this is what we talked about in the pregame. When you can have the second or third best defender on your team guarding a James Harden, you look at it tonight, there was Cole Anthony, a rookie, guarding him in the post. Just for a lack of options. Obviously, Orlando's dealing with some injuries, but you can just see the mismatches that are going to be everywhere, even when teams have a full roster. So James Harden has to get in his best shape. He knows that. The league knows that. The world knows that. That's not a big deal, because if you try and do this 40 minutes and try and do this, if you're 10 pounds over, if you're 5 pounds over, your body has an opportunity to break down, and that's not what he wants, especially when you're trying to get into a championship-type spot. space. And so I think it's going to be key for them to really bring him in, not necessarily with the gameplay, but also making sure that slowly but surely he starts to get to where he needs to be able to maintain these type of performances, because a lot of things you could do purely off adrenaline. There's a lot of smiles, there's a lot of fun, there's a lot of adrenaline, but once you get 20, 30, 40 games in, if you're not in that peak condition, adrenaline's not going to push you through.
No, all right. Well, adrenaline's going to push us. No. We're in Brooklyn, Bill. Ryan Rucco, Richard Jefferson, welcoming you back to the Nets post-game show. Richard, I mean, Bill's pipes, they sounded unbelievable in this building all night, but maybe the jerseys threw them off?
Yeah, the jerseys fell off, and I'm not going to give Bill any heat. You know why? Because Bill used to referee me when I was in high school. He used to referee Channing. He was an Arizona guy from Phoenix, so whenever we see each other, we used to have a lot of laughs and talk about how far we've come from him refereeing me in Glendale, Arizona, to now him calling out the wrong name in Barclays Center in Brooklyn. So he gets a pass. It's okay. Look, everybody does it. I promise you, even though it's been in Brooklyn for a few years, all the people that played so many years in New Jersey, all the New Jersey fans, everyone accidentally slips up. You're allowed one or two of those.
Especially when you're delivering replay reviews as beautifully as he was all night. He might have a future in some voiceover work. We want to take a look at our stat of the night. James Harden, Kevin Durant combined 74 points this evening, most ever in a game as teammates. Played 3 years together in OKC, had not played together since 2012. Time to hear from Kevin Durant.
Kevin, I know you know his game well, but just your assessment of James Harden in his debut, his first game with the team, and how he looked.
Man, it was incredible. You could see him trying to figure out the best way to play early on. I felt like we all were overpassing, trying to make everybody comfortable, and then he just got into his mode of, being aggressive to score, and that opened up the whole game for all of us. So, glad he got his feet up under him. He's got to keep plugging away, keep getting better each day.
Was there an increase? I know he's new, and of course you're going to do a lot of talking there, but kind of increased communication across the board with the team so that you guys are locked in at the task at hand? Yeah,
I mean, you got James, myself, Jeff, DJ out there, Joe, guys who've been in the league for a while. I think all of us, on the same page and communicating what we need from each other on the defensive side of the ball, especially on offense. I think we were moving and flowing a little bit on offense, based off our communication. We didn't have a play coming across half and guys were talking guys through actions, and same on the defensive side of the ball. So we're only going to get better at that, and it's going to take some time for us to build up that consistency of, how we want to play on both ends, but, it was a good step.
Greg Logan with Newsday.
KD, during his introductory press conference, James was asked what part of his game he needed to improve or emphasize or whatever. He said playmaking. And he in Houston, he kind of pounded the ball. But tonight, he moved the ball. And there were moments where when you and he and Harris were moving the ball, the defense was paralyzed. What do you think this kind of debut does for him? What message does it send in terms of sacrifice and how he's willing to play and yet be able to still step up and score?
Yeah, I mean, James, he played the same way he always played, to be honest. I mean, he played the same way he was playing in Houston, handling the basketball, being a pass-first guard, trying to get his guys good looks. He played the same way. And, Coach put him at the point. I think that's his natural position, to be honest, his point and, off guard, combo guard. And, for him to come out and get 14 assists, 12 rebounds for us at the point guard was key.
Brian Lewis with the New York Post.
Kevin, you and James have, 7 scoring titles between you, and Kai probably hit the most iconic shot in the last 10 years. I mean, when you have 3 guys that are so accustomed to leading teams, getting late buckets, big shots, what's the biggest key to making sure that all 3 of you can be as good or as dominant as you're accustomed to being, but still keep the main thing?
Well, understand it's more than just us 3 on this basketball team. We're going to need Joe Harris to continue to knock down shots, TLC, We'll need DeAndre to roll to the rim hard and our bigs to come in and help set screens and rebound. And so I think it's a group effort, and that's going to open up the floor for all of us. And it's having high IQ guys who are unselfish, who want to make the extra passes. We'll see how it plays out. Each game is different. I think we want to approach each game with that attitude of just all of us being who we are and being aggressive, but being on one string, and we'll see how it goes.
Alex Schiffer with The Athletic.
Hey, Kevin, obviously you and James have kept in touch and worked out together over the years, but it's been a while since you two were in an official NBA game together. Does the rapport you two have with each other kind of translate pretty quickly, given your ties, or did it take a couple of sessions for that to really get in the full swing?
No, I mean, like I said, having veteran guys and being in the league for so long, you didn't worked on so many different schemes and offensive actions. You kind of know how to play the game. And, it's not just me and James. Jeff's the same way. DJ's the same way. Kyrie's the same way. Guys that have been in the league for almost 10-plus years where, we could just sometimes we don't even have to speak to know what we're thinking. And guys are, just understand each other. And we've been studying each other for so long, scouting each other for so long. So that IQ is just there. It's only going to get better.
Malika Andrews with ESPN.
Hey, Kevin, you had 42 tonight. At what point did you feel like, yeah, all right, I've got this. I've found my rhythm here after getting off to a little bit of an up and down start really early on?
Yeah, I mean, missing shots I felt like I got to my spots. I think it was a matter of time before I started to knock them down. And I got some great screens tonight from DJ and the bigs, and James set me up nice, and my teammates set me up nice. But I just felt comfortable, and I'm getting better, getting more comfortable each game, and hopefully it continues.
Christian Winfield with the New York Daily News.
Hey, Kevin, obviously you and James and Kyrie can score, but another part of you guys' games is that you guys are high IQ, and you kind of can tell what a defense is going to do before they do it. How do you think that is going to help guys like Joe, guys like DeAndre out there when the defense really can't afford to double because either it's going to be a lob or Joe's going to be open for a three?
Yeah, I can't wait till we have our full team together and seeing where we can create shots for shooters, seeing how we can get our bigs some easy points in the paint. But it's going to be tough for anybody to double us, especially out at the three-point line. And teams may trap us in the pick and roll, but we got guys that can make good plays on that back end. And but you're gonna get your best shot from everybody. Like tonight, these guys felt like they didn't miss a shot in the second half. So we're gonna get the best shot from everybody, but it's about us every single night, and how we can continue to just keep putting out good energy on both ends of the floor.
Jen Williams with Fox 5 New York.
Hey, Kevin, did you get a chance to talk with James after the game, and what was that conversation like?
No, it was just good win, good game. Let's get back to practice tomorrow and see how we can get better and learn from tonight. We had 15 turnovers between us too, and that's terrible. And we had 19 as a team, so that says our teammates kept the ball in their hands. We got to be better. So, I probably should go talk to him about that right now.
And last question, Brian Mahoney with the Associated Press.
Hey, Kevin, it's 10 games for you now. Your average is up over 30 points. I know you said you didn't have any expectations for how this would go, but as you evaluate it now, how do you explain being this good this fast after that kind of layoff you had?
Well, I got a long ways to go, and I got a good staff, teammates, training staff that put me in position every day to go out there and be the best that I can be. So it's 10 games in. We got 62 more. That's a long season ahead. Well, we got more than that. I missed a few games. We had 13 games, 14 games. So we got a long season ahead of us, and I just want to keep putting together some good days, good weeks, good months, and see what happens.
Thanks so much.
Well, Kevin Durant has certainly come out of the gate strong. Most points in first 10 games with a new team. Only Wilt Chamberlain has scored more than Kevin Durant's 307 points through his first 10 games Richard, listening to Kevin Durant, a couple things have definitely stood out, I think, to Nets fans getting to listen to him on a regular basis. First of all, just how bright he is. The basketball IQ, it's certainly, it jumps out every time we hear from him. But what also jumps out, and I think we heard it a lot tonight, was how quickly he deflects beyond just him, and in this case now James Harden and Kyrie Irving, and talks about, hey, we need more than that. We need to do everything as a team, and how specific he is with what he's going to need from the other guys on the roster.
Yeah, I think, Kevin Durant has grown so much as a leader, from, when he first came into the league in Seattle to his time in OKC winning the MVP to going on and winning 2 finals MVPs with the Golden State Warriors. And I think now, he's embarking on another challenge. We see so many superstars taking on another challenge, and this is definitely a different challenge. There's no doubt that when it comes to, who he is and the leader that he is, he's always going to lift up the other players. He understands how important, having Bruce Brown, having Joe Harris, getting Landry Shamet involved. He understands because that just makes his job easier. And so, when I listen to Kevin Durant speak, I also understand that this is an individual that wants to win another championship. We can say whatever we want, but he wants to prove to people, that he can win a championship, wherever he is, and he has the team around him to do it right now. Do they have a lot of room for improvement? Are there areas that they need to fix and address? 100%, but every team in the league is going to be better come game 72, come game 73 than they are today, and I think that should just be their goal, just growing and trying to get better over the course of this process.
Now we talk about former Oklahoma City teammates with James Harden and obviously Kevin Durant, but the other guy who's in that mix is Jeff Green, who's going to get a lot more time on the floor with team and as a small ball 5 at times as well, Richard.
Yeah, and look, Jeff Green is still so athletic. I think people underestimate his size because he is so mobile. He's closer to 6'9", but he's always run the floor extremely well. And even now, you look at it, he's got to be in, year 14, 15, maybe 16 for him, but he gives so much versatility. So he's going to be one of those guys that you look to defensively to help lift up this entire team.
Green with 10 points tonight. You see what that trio did back together again. I mean, how about that, Richard? Just what Jeff Green can bring to the table as a small ball 5 as the Nets try and navigate life post Jared Allen.
Yeah, no, there's going to be so much versatility. And again, when you talk about, I want to say Kevin Durant's first year in Golden State, there was conversation for him to become defensive player, for him to be defensive player of the year. He was all team defense that year. That's where he's got to raise his level. I think it's very, very evident that he's going to be the exact same offensive force that we've seen since the moment that he came into this league. Yes, there might be some stuff with the Achilles that you just want to pay attention to. You don't want to overload him. You don't want to do too much as far as giving him a couple of days off, but he's that guy. And that was the one concern coming into the season is, could Kevin Durant return to a top 5 player? Could he return to a top 10 player? The Nets would still be ecstatic. Well, right now he's looking like a top 2 or 3 player in this league, and on any given night he could be the best player in the league, and I think tonight was one of those nights.
All right, we'll step aside here. A strong night from Joe Harris. 17 points in this game, 4 more threes. Let's hear from Jolton Joe.
Hey, Joe, just first off, what was it like building chemistry out there on the fly with James in his first game?
It's definitely an adjustment, but, at the end of the day, you can kind of plug him in any sort of situation, and he's going to make it work. Obviously, he played extremely well. And like he had been playing with us for a while, putting guys in spots. Obviously not a lot of time or no time at all with him before. So for him to pick up, the plays, stuff, the defensive philosophy, all this stuff, basically in the matter of just showing up today is pretty impressive.
There's kinks to work out for sure. Orlando put up a tough fight. But how much fun was it out there, knowing that this is the start of something for you guys?
I think it's exciting. It's one of those things where, just the talent, the level of play, but even just like you said, the sort of the energy, the camaraderie that we had. It felt like we've been playing together for a long time, even though it's not, this is the first time this group's ever taken the floor together. But, I thought even early on, it was like we were making too many extra passes, trying to get guys involved. And instead of people trying to be, aggressive, take the shots that they normally would take, it was like, everybody's trying to make that extra one, get everybody a touch, get everybody involved, which is awesome to see. But at the same time, it's one of those things where we're just, it's the first time playing together. Everybody's feeling each other out. But we came together a little bit more in that second half.
Greg Logan with Newsday.
Joe, I know there was a point where you hit back-to-back threes that were from pretty damn deep. But at the same time, there were points where the way you and Kevin and Harden moved the ball among you that seemed almost thrilling because it sort of paralyzed the defense. What do you feel like ball movement can do with a team that has shooters like you three, and then you add Kyrie to the mix?
Yeah, I think it's a very difficult task defensively. You look out on the floor, you have people that are, a specific niche, but for me, obviously being a shooter, but then you have Kevin who can do it at all three levels. You have James that can do it at all three levels. You have Kyrie that can do it at all three levels. But the guys, they're just good basketball players at the end of the day too. They make the right play. I think a lot is put on sort of their scoring prowess, but they make the right play. When guys cut and they're open, they find you, they hit you. When you're open on the perimeter, they hit you. And being able to play off of guys like that, it's an unbelievable luxury in this league, and we're fortunate that we have the playmakers that we do. They can go and get a basket pretty much at any point during the game themselves, but they're also equally as good at facilitating and getting guys involved and then just making the right basketball play.
Well, Joe Harris may have trimmed the beard, but James Harden has not, and he made his debut in Brooklyn tonight. Richard, a triple-double, a 30-point triple-double.
James Harden could go 25 and 10 every single night if he chooses.
Allow me to introduce myself indeed. First 30-point triple-double in a team debut all time. Seventh player with any sort of triple-double in a team debut all time. Let's hear from the Beard.
Hey, James, congrats again on the win. Your teammates out there learning, getting to know you. What did you, though, learn about your teammates tonight?
We have some special talent in this locker room. Very versatile. Shooters, playmakers, defenders, a little bit of everything. And that's what you're going to need, especially when it comes postseason. Obviously, we haven't built as much chemistry as we would like. But that first game, it felt good to be out there on the court and just, giving guys confidence, giving guys energy. That's what it's going to take throughout the course of the year. And once you build that up and guys believe in each other, then it's pretty scary.
Malika Andrews with ESPN.
Hey, James, I'm wondering if there was any sense of this was like riding a bike, getting back out with Kevin Durant.
I'm a hooper, so I just like I said, I'm very unselfish. I'm willing to just do whatever it takes to win. And obviously, KD is just a elite, just different type of basketball player as far as the way he's able to score the basketball. It's so easy for him, and I know that. So I just want to make it a little bit more easier if I can. And then for the rest of the teammates, our shooters and our bigs, make it easier for them. So yeah, it was pretty easy out there.
Greg Logan with Newsday.
James, yesterday you said when you were asked what talent do you need to improve or emphasize or whatever, you said playmaking. And it seemed like that's what you were concentrating on tonight. You got everybody's shots, you distributed the ball, you moved it quickly, and then when you had to, you turned it on offensively. So can you say, is that, do you expect that to be your approach going forward, especially when they add Kyrie Irving to the mix?
For me, I'm just, I have so many dimensions to my game. I just take whatever the defense gives me. I play the game the right way, or at least I try to every possession, and just takes whatever the defense is giving me. And like I say, whoever has the hot hand, that's who deserves the ball. The basketball finds energy. It finds people that have good energy, good spirit. So that's what I try to bring to the game tonight.
Brian Lewis with the New York Post.
Hey, James. It's hard to get in somebody else's head, but I mean, you made it pretty clear that you wanted to be in Brooklyn, and at least it seemed like you were really enjoying yourself out there tonight. I'm just curious, now that the game's over, I mean, did it feel like what you expected, and how did it feel? How would you describe it?
It felt unbelievable. I mean, I hope you can tell by my smile and my play. Just excited, and for the opportunity. This is an unbelievable organization from top to bottom. And, for me, all I have to do is just go out there and be the best, James Harden I can be. And, good things will happen.
Christian Winfield with the New York Daily News.
Hey, James, one thing about you and Kyrie and KD as it pertains to you guys' offensive talent is that you guys can kind of tell what the defense is going to do before they do it. How do you think that is going to help guys like Joe, guys like DeAndre, when the defense can't really help off of, we saw today, defense can't help off of Joe. He's going to hit a three. Defense can't help off of the guy down low. You got to throw the lob up top. How does that make this team better that you guys all know what the defense is going to do and they can't really double you?
Once we go through every scenario, and it's only maybe 4 or 5 that teams can really do against us, and throughout the course of the year that's going to happen, once we figure out, okay, they're doing this tonight, this is how we attack it, or they're doing this tonight, this is how we attack it. Once we get that, it's basically up to us. And I'm so excited for Kai to get back. He's a key piece to what we're trying to do. And the chemistry, as soon as we can build that, as soon as we can be on the court together, it's going to be scary hours.
Alex Schiffer with The Athletic.
Hey, James. Joe and Kevin were kind of saying how, early on everyone was maybe a little too pass happy and not taking contact. It's just what point in the game did you kind of start to feel you got into a rhythm and got comfortable?
I mean, I had, 9 turnovers throughout the game, and maybe 6 or 7 of them were to, looking to get guys, and DeAndre get them lobs. That's me being unselfish. That's me trying to get guys involved. But at the end of the day, I just still got to be a player at the end of the day and score when I need to score, and when the pass is there, do it. So, first game, I'm happy to get it out the way. Now we can watch some film and get ready for our next opponent.
Brian Mahoney with the Associated Press.
Hey, James, how did your preparation today? Did you know for sure you'd get to play, or if not, when did you find out? And, without not knowing many of the kind of plays and things like that, is it almost more fun that you get to figure it out yourself a little bit more as opposed to kind of having things scripted?
I mean, I have, had multiple conversations with our coaching staff on what we're trying to accomplish on both ends of the ball. So pretty much I'm familiar with it, and I know, where spots where to put our players in. And then it makes it easier when you have Kevin Durant on your team who can take some of the pressure off of you as well. So, like I said, it's a long way to go. It's a process, but I think just watching film, getting better, learning where guys like to be. We have some unbelievable shooters, trying to get them more shots so they can feel more involved in the offense, getting our bigs more, paint points, and just kind of directing people and guiding people to where they should be so they can be more effective. I think once that happens, our team will be a lot better.
Ian Begley with SNY.
James, it's not a basketball question, but could you share anything about what you had to give Landry Shamet for number 13?
I'm sure he'll post it when I give it to him. Nah, that's big time though. For him to sacrifice that, I got to make sure I get him something.
And last question, Jen Williams with Fox 5 New York.
Hey, James, you said you came to Brooklyn to play for a contender. I know it's just the first game, but keeping that in mind, how are you feeling about that decision after the first game?
It felt great. I mean, even from when I stepped foot into the building, it was open arms, and like I said, it's anything I need, they're there for me. They're making sure I'm getting my work in, making sure that, everything is laid. So all I got to do is go out there and just be me. For me, in return, I got to make sure everybody is feeding off that. And tonight was a really good start. Hopefully, next game we have Kai back and just keep this thing rolling.
Richard, we talk a lot about James Harden adjusting. The chemistry will grow. Obviously, he just got here, hasn't even been able to practice yet, and then he goes out and puts up a 30-point triple-double. But you know what it's like to be traded. You know what it's like to join new teams mid-season. What are the kind of things that it takes time to learn that no matter how talented you are, you're not going to be able to fully, appreciate until a little bit later on?
Well, one of the things that you have to understand is getting your routine down, right? Understand, like, James has been in one city. He has the routine. He has how he's going to play, where he eats. He has, the drive to the arena. Like, you have all of these little things that help you build consistency. That's a number one thing that vets typically tell younger players is get your routine down, whether it's game day, whether it's practice day, whether it's your off season. So that's one of the things where it takes him a little bit of time. Like, yes, he's going to come in here. He's one of the best players of this generation. He's going to come in and have a great number, and we're going to, ooh and ah about it. But he's done this 100 times in his career. These things don't really kind of move the needle for him. He's here to get better, and today was a step in the right direction.
Now, part of the reason there was some confusion as to whether or not Harden would be available to play tonight was because of the holdup with the physical of Caris LeVert, who was involved in what became a 4-team trade. Very scary news that was announced just before tip that a small mass was found in the left kidney of Caris LeVert during his physical. As a result, an additional second-round pick and money was sent to the Pacers, but obviously the concern for Caris and his health. Caris LeVert releasing this statement: on behalf of my family and myself, we want to thank the Indiana Pacers for their support and guidance. We are grateful for their extreme thoroughness during the physical process, and I'm looking forward to joining the team and being part of this great organization as soon as possible. Richard, you mentioned it on the pregame, and I think it's such a great point. You may end up looking back at this trade as the biggest blessing for Caris LeVert because this mass was found thanks to this physical.
And you see this so often. You see so many things and get picked up during physicals. You've seen a ton of players have to take time away. You've seen players being able to address things. They do so much blood work. They do so much number testing on us. We talk about sports science when it comes to like guys' load management, how many minutes they play, how quickly they come back from injury. Well, the sports science also goes into making sure that your body is 100% healthy and operational.